The British government has denied allegations of hypocrisy after 3 black English footballers were targeted with online abuse. Racist social media posts were directed at Marcus Rashford, Jadon, Sancho and Bukayo Saka after their missed penalties helped Italy win Sunday's Euro 2020 final. But players and campaigners have called out the government for fueling the abuse after comments about players taking a knee.
After the hate came the love. This mural of England player Marcus Rashford now covered in well wishes after it was defaced following England's Euro 2020 final loss to Italy. These are the true England fans. One girl leaving a note that read, "Keep up the good work, Marcus Rashford." Support echoed by many here.
These boys have done really well for the team. They took us really far. So to get this kind of abuse, like round the corner from where I live, it was just shocking.
Rashford was one of 3 black England players, alongside Jadon, Sancho and Bukayo Saka, abused online for missing penalties in the finals shootout.
For some of them to be abused is unforgivable, really. It's just not what we stand for.
And UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson also joined in the condemnation.
To those who have been directing racist abuse at some of the players, I say shame on you, and I hope you will crawl back under the rock from which you emerged.
But the UK government, happy to be associated with the team's success, has faced calls of hypocrisy.
Come on, England.
England defender Tyrone Mings had this message for Home Secretary Priti Patel, writing on Twitter, "You don't get to stoke the fire at the beginning of the tournament by labelling our anti-racism message as gesture politics, and then pretend to be disgusted when the very thing we're campaigning against happens." That after Patel had publicly criticised players for taking a knee.
I just don't support, people participating in, that type of gesture politics to a certain extent as well.
Do you think
to drive the right outcomes?
The England fans are right to boo?
Well, that's a choice for them, quite frankly.
Anti-racism campaigners say the government must bear some responsibility for how fans behave.
People remember that it's all debatable, that you don't have to take the knee because the Prime Minister and the government don't agree with it. And so therefore, somehow in their minds, that also gives them some kind of freedom to be abusive when it comes to black players in particular.
In the meantime, England's players will continue to fight racism, both on and off the pitch.
All right, let's take the story now over to the UK. I'm joined by our correspondent, Charlotte Chelson-Pill. She is in London tonight. Good evening to you, Charlotte. This love affair between the England football team and the British government, is it over even before it started?
I think the government might have wanted to characterise it as a love affair. I mean, the whole country was swept up by this team and their success in this tournament. And you did get members of the government, including the Prime Minister, posting pictures in England shirts, supporting the team, cheering them on, watching the games. They really wanted to show that they were on board with this national moment, this national pride in the success of the teams. I'm not sure necessarily, though, whether some of the players would call this a love affair, whether that was they would consider it a mutual attraction. And I think that is clear from some of the tweets that you have had from players in the aftermath of the racist abuse suffered by those 3 teammates. You heard one of those statements in that report there. And just to reiterate, Tyrone Mings, England player, directing a tweet at the UK's Interior Minister, the Home Secretary here, saying you don't get to stoke the fire at the beginning of the tournament by labelling our anti-racism message as gesture politics and then pretend to be disgusted by the very thing we're campaigning against. Extremely strong words from an English football player directed at the government, and one that's resonated with a lot of people here. Even Conservative politicians now are questioning how the UK government should respond to this. A lot of them feeling very much that the government has been put in a very difficult, embarrassing situation by this.
Yeah, you can imagine a lot of people have been rolling their eyes when they've heard comments coming from the Prime Minister. What about the public response to these racist tweets on social media? What kind of backing are the players getting?
well, of course, initially extremely fierce condemnations from all circles, really. You had Prince William saying he was sickened by this racist abuse. You had the English Football Association condemning this, just tweet after tweet condemning this racist abuse. What you've seen now, though, is just a complete outpouring of support for these players. Just look at what happened at the mural for one of those players, Marcus Rashford, today. It was defaced. Police are investigating that since, though, it has been covered by hundreds of messages of support. It's really moving images of children going down there, writing notes, showing their support, their pride in what the national team has achieved. One message in particular directed at Marcus Rashford saying, "Thank you for all of our dinner." That's pointing to the fact that this player, Marcus Rashford, not just known for his stance on racial injustice, but also social injustice as well. He's led a campaign to feed children during school holidays, one that the nation really did get behind. So huge amount of outpouring love for Marcus Rashford and these players.
I've got 20 seconds, Charlotte. We know the team was booed at first when it took a knee in protest against racism. The booing was silenced after the tournament. So where are we now? Back at square one? 20 seconds.
Well, I think that this instance shows that racism is still a problem and needs to be fought, but I think it will also give a good deal of hope, looking at the outpouring here, that the vast majority of this country stands against racism like this.
All right, our very own Charlotte Chilson-Pill on the story for us in London tonight. As always, Charlotte, thank you.